You're listening to the Bishop's Hour from the Roman Catholic Diocese of Phoenix on AM 1310, Immaculate Heart Radio. I'm Michael Dixon. Sherry Boas and her husband have adopted 4 children of various ethnicities, each with a challenging history or current condition, and her writing revolves around faith and family. She's author of Mother's Bouquet, Rosary Meditations for Moms, and the Lily Trilogy. Sherry, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Tell me, first of all, just a little bit about you and your family. You have a very special family.
They are very special, but I'm sure every mother says that, right?
Yeah.
But we have 4 very beautiful, joyful, highly adrenalized children. And they all came from, as you said, 3 out of 4 came from difficult backgrounds, and we've just been so blessed to have a very rich life because of it. We have one with Down syndrome. We have one who was a 1.5 pounds and a foot long when he was born. He was born 15 weeks early, and he's doing fabulous. And we have one who was exposed in utero to crack and alcohol and cigarettes, and she's doing fabulous. So we've been very blessed, and we've witnessed many miracles.
Congratulations with that. You're an author. Were you an author at the time that you started to do the adoptions and raise your family and put it all together, or did this just kind of blossom out of the experience?
It blossomed. That's a very good way to put it. I was a journalist. I worked for a newspaper before we got the call from Catholic Social Services one day that there was a baby in Tucson waiting for us, and I handed in my, I had told them I'm going to have to quit that day, and so we were waiting for that to happen. So I left the newspaper that day, and I decided that my vocation as a mother was the most important thing. And through that vocation, I have learned more than I have ever learned in my life. It's my oldest daughter is now almost 13, and it's been an amazing adventure. It's been beautiful. It's been, trying at times, but absolutely beautiful. And so I've always wanted to write fiction. When I was a kid, I wanted to write fiction, but to pay the bills, I went into newspapers, and now I have the opportunity. My kids are a little older now, and I have a little bit of time, and I can write books. So it's been great.
Let's talk about the books, because your fiction is a special kind of fiction. I mean, you have a purpose. There's a spine to what you do. Let's talk about that.
The spine is life. Respecting every, human life, knowing that it's a gift from God, and faith. Our faith is a huge gift from God, and this is what the books, all 3 of them, there's a common thread through the books. The common thread, her name is Lily, and she has Down syndrome. And I won't call her the main character, because main characters need to change. In fiction, there has to be a change in the main character for fiction to work. She doesn't need to change. The people around her need to change. So she, going along in her life, not meaning to change anybody, just loving people, brings everyone in her life to some dramatic turning point, or a conversion, or a realization.
So the character development is occasioned by the influence of this child, the exposure to this child, having to deal with this child.
That's right. Right now we're at a point where 92% of children with Down syndrome are aborted. What that means is we don't know what we're missing. It's the same with every other abortion. We don't know what we're missing, and there's no way of ever getting a handle on that. But what I've tried to do through the books is give people a glimpse of what might have been had everyone who God intended had a chance to live. Lily was raised by an aunt who did not want to raise her. It was a decision kind of thrust on her when her sister died. And her aunt now is aging, and she finds Lily to be the only glimmer of hope in her life. And as she reflects back over how she begrudgingly raised this child, she starts to realize what would have been without Lily. And actually, more the reader starts to realize it. I'm not even sure the main character completely understands in the book, but the reader will come to understand. And that carries through with the sequels as well.
So it's transformational for the reader as well as for the characters, and even more so is what you're saying, because we bring all of us, no matter how good-willed we are, bring to that situation some preconceived ideas, and we don't know how things are going to work out, and we're not quite sure because we're afraid. I mean, we're afraid.
Exactly. And there is no way that fear and love can coexist. You have to make a choice there. And I've noticed that sin, when it comes into our lives, it's based on our reaction to some kind of fear. Why do women have abortions? It's always out of some kind of fear. Why do people pressure people in their lives to have abortions? There's fear. Why do women give birth? There can only be one reason. You suffer to give birth. It has to be because of love, an absence of fear. Mm-hmm. Or maybe not an absence of fear, but love triumphed at that moment. And the saints, they're martyred. I'm sure they were fearful of what was happening to them physically, but love triumphed in that moment. So we need to make our decisions based on love and not fear.
Is this an ongoing series? I know that you have a trilogy. Will there be a fourth?
I don't think there will be a fourth, although I've started to think of how that could be. But I am on to a different project now. I'm on to a different book with different characters, but with a Catholic worldview, because that's what I want to get across to the culture.
But you're not hitting them over the head. I mean, when we say, well, it's a book with a Catholic view, I mean, I'm going to read this, I'm going to get a lesson. But it's not like that, is it?
No,
that's not what you're doing.
I hope that it's subtle. I don't want to hit anybody over the head. And
I mean, you're a journalist. You know the effect of something like that.
Yeah. I want people to come to their own conclusion about what has happened to these characters. And what you do is you walk along with the characters. The characters aren't always seeing God work in their lives, but the reader can pinpoint it on occasion, and maybe maybe not. So it'll be up to the reader to come to a conclusion.
What did it do for you to write this trilogy?
It's been such a blessing. It's obviously a dream come true, but it's more than that. I actually learned so much about life and my faith to actually wrap it all up and put it on pages, inside of a 200-page book. It's just an amazing thing. So I've really enjoyed everything that's happened.
Did it change your spirit at all?
I actually, because of the character in the first book, I actually now always I always get glimpses of myself in the future, how my daughter might be there for me in the future, my one with Down syndrome. I'm hoping that all my kids will be there, but because she has Down syndrome, she might live with us forever, and that's okay with me if she wants to. But I really do. I start thinking, and I'm 43, so you realize that age is fleeting, youth is fleeting, and that there will come a time when maybe everyone will be living lives, and you might be lonely. And I start to think, this child who sometimes is a struggle. I mean, she's a challenge. She's a joy, but she can be a challenge. She will be there with us. I think it's a neat thing.
Wow. How do we find the books?
You can find them in your local Catholic gift stores. Many of them have them. They're at the Cathedral and Mary Immaculate. They're also online if you want to go to Amazon.
Really?
And if you want to order them through me, I have a website, lilytrilogy.com.
lilytrilogy.com.
All one word.
I really want to thank you. What an incredible idea to work through. I just find it fascinating that the way you're structuring the character development through the influence of someone that people wouldn't normally value. And that's the whole idea.
That's the whole idea.
You are so good. Sherry, thank you for coming in. Will you come back sometime?
I would love to come back. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Best of luck. God bless you.
Thank you. God bless you.